Here we are, episode 6 of Unknown Mysteries, Ghosts of Liverpool, UK. The first story is, one second, James Street Railway Station. Just one second.
James Street Station dates back to 1886 and has been part of Liverpool's transport system ever since. One staple part of the station appears to be a ghostly soldier who has been seen riding the train from Birkenhead Central to James Street, and he has been known to disembark from a disused side of a platform. Back in the 1990s, James Davidson, a lollipop man, told the local paranormal writer Tom Sleeman that he and other passengers had seen the ghost on a train one day and was taken aback by its flat appearance, stating it looked as though it had been cut out. So, the next time you're on a train tour from Birkenhead Central, look to your left or right and you might just find you're sitting next to the ghostly soldier.
Well, there you go. 1 second. Story 2, Speke Hall. Just 1 second.
Speke Hall is one of the oldest buildings in Liverpool, dating back to the 16th century. So, if anywhere is bound to be a little haunted, you would expect it to be here. The half-timbered house has remained open to the public, with many people reporting spooky sightings at the hall. One of the most well-known ghosts at Speke Hall is the Cavalier. During the hall's renovation in the 1950s, the workmen spotted a man who looked like one of the Three Musketeers, grinning at them whilst leaning on a beam. In fact, he reportedly picked up a hammer and passed it to a workman, who fell through the hatchway in sheer fright. That's not the only story of the Cavalier, though. During the 1970s, Charlie Williams, a 13-year-old boy, would regularly ride to Speke Hall to talk to a rather eccentrically dressed man, whose description matched that of the Cavalier. The man referred to himself as Mr. Pobjoy and taught Charlie sword fencing before he later admitted to Charlie, "I've been dead for years." The young lad, afraid of who he had been talking to all this time, rode away on his bike as fast as he could from Speke Hall.
Wow. Just 1 second. And we'll get story 3. Right, the next story. Just 1 second. Newsham Park Hospital. Just 1 second.
Newsham Park Hospital originally served as a Victorian orphanage, which was later used as a medical hospital and mental asylum. However, the hospital closed its doors in 1997, but there is reportedly some activity in the hospital. Some paranormal activity, that is. One of the most notable stories is about a female nurse who commonly reported peculiar sightings whilst working with patients at the hospital. Eerily, the nurse was found dead on one of the wards soon after. Visitors have also reported ghostly sightings, as well as hearing disembodied voices from the building. Newsham Park Hospital's patients also reportedly mentioned children and would regularly talk to people who were not there.
Wow. Just 1 second and we'll get to the last story. This last story on Unknown Mysteries in this episode is Mackenzie's Tomb in Liverpool. Just 1 second. It's a really interesting story, this one, and a bit scary as well. This is the last story in this episode. Right, just 1 second.
Most Liverpudlians are aware of Mackenzie's tomb on Rodney Street. That's because there's nothing quite like it anywhere else in the city, or maybe even the UK for that matter. William Mackenzie, who was a civil engineer, spent much of his career in Liverpool. Part of his role was to dig the railway tunnels near Lime Street and Edge Hill. As Mackenzie was an avid gambler, he reportedly made a deal with the devil that he would exchange his soul for lifelong luck on the gambling tables. After he passed away in Liverpool in 1851, he was entombed above ground in a pyramid, sat upright with a winning hand of cards, as per his instructions. His aim was to ensure his body was never committed to the earth to prevent the devil from staking claim to his soul. However, the above has been dismissed as hearsay, as does the description on his tomb. So, what do you think? Is it all an urban myth, Or does Mackenzie really have a winning hand of cards in the tomb? We will never know.
Well, there you go. What an interesting story. See you on the next episode of Unknown Mysteries.